Some families inherit wealth, wisdom, or tradition, but in this family, something darker seeped into their lineage. They lived by a strict faith, yet within their faith was a dreaded belief that they were watched, hunted, by forces neither human nor divine. These forces were no faces, yet their presence could chill the blood. For them, the supernatural was simple, angels or demons, but only the demons ever came calling. One cold night, in a creaking, silent house, the aunt lay awake, her senses prickling with the knees. She could feel the weight in the air, like the entire home was holding its breath. Then, the scratching began, a slow, grating scrape against the back door, each stroke a reminder of what waited in the darkness outside. And then came the sound that would forever chill her bones. The hollow, rhythmic clack of hooves against the hardwood. It was as if something ancient, something animal, had crossed her threshold, moving deeper into her home. The hooves clacked against the steps, each one growing louder, heavier, echoing through the empty house. She lay still, each footfall tightening the dread coiled in her stomach. Whatever was coming, it was taking its time, letting its presence seep into her mind. Step by tortuous step, it felt as if the walls themselves were trembling, as though the house knew what was coming, and was powerless to stop it. The footsteps stopped at her door. The silence was a suffocating weight, pressing down on her as if it wanted to crush her. And then, the door creaked open. Nothing was there, but the darkness itself felt alive. Slowly, she felt an icy grip wrap around her wrists and ankles, rooting her to the bed, immobilizing her. She felt the rough, furred claws of something unseen pin her down, its growling breath seeping inches from her face. She could feel its weight, its rage, its desire to break her, and she knew that all she had was her faith, the words she'd been taught. She began to pray, her words trembling as they left her lips. For her mother, the terror took a different shape. As she lay in bed one night, darkness filled her room, and then, without warning, an unholy scream split the air, a scream so sharp, so vicious. It shook the walls and sent a shiver down her spine. Her heartbeat quickened, but she fought the fear and whispered a prayer. The temperature dropped, and suddenly, she felt a weight crawling over her, pinning her to the bed, mocking her faith with laughter that grew louder with every verse she recited. It was a sound so vile, so inhuman, it felt like it was laughing straight into her soul. Yet as the laughter reached its peak, something shifted. A warmth flooded the room, a presence unlike anything she had felt before. It was a light pure, calm, unwavering. The creature's laughter twisted into a scream as it felt the power enter the room. She couldn't see it, but she knew something stronger had come to her side. The demon's cries grew desperate as it was torn away, its last screams echoing through the night as it fled, leaving her in a silence that felt like a blessing. Growing up in this family meant living with a constant fear, a dark legacy of whispered stories and midnight terrors. The child, trembling in their room, took every measure they could. CDs of gospel music on loop, Bible verses pinned to every wall. They tried to create a sanctuary within the thin walls of their room, hoping the music, the prayers, would keep the darkness at bay. But each night, as they lay there in the quiet, a part of them feared that none of it would be enough. One night, as they drifted into sleep, the air changed. The familiar glow from the yard light outside vanished, swallowed by a darkness thicker than any they'd ever known. It crept in around them, thick and suffocating, a darkness that was alive, that pressed down with the malevolence they could feel in their bones. Every hateful thought, every fear, every horror seemed to pour into them, filling them with despair so deep it was almost paralyzing. And then, it came, the sound, rising from the depths of their own chest, a roar that reverberated through their body. It was a voice both theirs and not theirs, a voice that wanted to break them from the inside out. Desperate, they clung to the only weapon they had left, the prayers they'd been taught, whispered between shallow breaths, words that pierced the oppressive silence. And as they prayed, the force around them began to weaken, as if it was recoiling from the strength of their conviction. With one last guttural laugh, mocking, twisted, the darkness seemed to melt away, pulling back, leaving the room lighter, warmer. In the faint glow of the yard light, now trickling in through the window, they could finally breathe again. The bed that had felt like a prison now felt like a refuge. And they knew, for this night at least, the battle was over. In that moment, a realization dawned. Faith was not just a shield, it was a weapon, a force as real as the darkness itself. Faith wasn't just in religion or prayer, it was in the strength of the soul, in the sheer refusal to let the darkness take hold. They understood now that belief, in any form, was the ultimate armor, a beacon in even the blackest night. For some, the darkness will always come, lurking in corners, lying in wait. But in every heart lies a spark of light, a force that no darkness can extinguish. It is belief in oneself or in something greater that gives strength to stand against the shadows. And as long as that light burns, the darkness will never truly win.